Nashtale, this is Sakina Bhatt and welcome to Tibet This Week, a weekly news on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's look at the headlines first. His Holiness the Dalai Lama graces the first conference of scholars from different traditions on the G. Tsongkhapa's essence of true eloquence. 17-year-old monk arrested after calling for freedom in Tibet. DIIR releases a film highlighting middle way approach as the way forward. President Trump signs reciprocal access to Tibet into law, a message of hope and justice to Tibetans in Tibet. On Monday this week, His Holiness the Dalai Lama made a pilgrimage to the World Heritage Mahabodhi Mahavihara Temple, revered as the seat of Lord Buddha's enlightenment, to offer prayers at Bodh Gaya. The Mahabodhi temple complex is one of the 4 holy sites related to the life of the Lord Buddha and particularly to the attainment of enlightenment. His Holiness graced the third debate of scholars from different traditions of Tibetan Buddhism on G. Tsongkhapa's text, Essence of True Eloquence, at Bodh Gaya on Wednesday this week. His Holiness said, "Irrespective of whether we are believers or not, all of us seek peace and happiness. The wealth of knowledge in the Buddhist philosophy on attaining peace of mind can be of huge benefit to everyone. Through the Buddhist philosophy and psychology, we have an opportunity to serve the entire 7 billion human beings on this planet." He underlined that the tradition could be explained through the secular point of view. A 17-year-old monk named Sangye Gyatso was detained by the local Chinese authorities on 10th December for staging a peaceful protest calling for freedom in Tibet. The protest took place on the main street of Ngaba County town in Ngaba Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture in the Tibetan province of Amdo. The local Chinese police immediately arrived at the protest site, manhandled him, and took him away to an undisclosed location. Sangye was severely beaten up before he was detained. Sangye Gyatso hails from a nomadic family in Soruma village in Chojema township in Ngaba County. 10th December is a significant date as it marks the World Human Rights Day and the 29th anniversary of the conferment of the Nobel Peace Prize upon His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The Department of Information and International Relations of the Central Tibetan Administration released a film titled Umelam, Middle Way, The Way Forward on Wednesday this week. Umelam in Tibetan means the middle way approach proposed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama to peacefully resolve the issue of Tibet and to bring about stability and coexistence between the Tibetan and Chinese people based on equality and mutual cooperation. It is also a policy adopted democratically by the Central Tibetan Administration and the Tibetan people through a series of discussions held over a long time. Produced by Tibet TV and directed by Tibetan filmmaker Tenzin Kalden, the film showcases the relevance of the middle way approach as the Tibetan freedom struggle enters its 60th year threshold, where the first generation of Tibetans who lived through the invasion are slowly phasing out and the new generation of Tibetans has taken over the mantle of the freedom struggle. US President Donald Trump has signed into law the Reciprocal Access to Tibet Act of 2018, which will impose a visa ban on Chinese officials who deny American citizens, government officials and journalists access to Tibet. The new law will require the Department of State to report to the Congress annually regarding the level of access Chinese authorities granted US diplomats, journalists and the tourists to Tibetan areas in China. Expressing his gratitude, CTA President Dr. Lobsang Singye said,
"First of all, I would like to extend my profound appreciation to President Donald Trump and the US Congress for passing the bill and making it into a law. This is a support for human rights and freedom of the Tibetan people, and this is a message against those officials who are violating or who are perpetrator of human rights violations in Tibet. Hence, this is a message of equality and justice."
President of the International Campaign for Tibet, Matteo Mikachi, said that by passing this impactful and innovative law, the US has blazed a path for other countries to follow and let the Chinese government know that it will face real consequences for its discrimination against the Tibetan people. Representative Jim McGovern, who introduced the bill, said, "For too long, China has covered up their human rights violations in Tibet by restricting travel. But actions have consequences, and today we are one step closer to holding the Chinese officials who implement these restrictions accountable. I look forward to watching closely as our law is implemented and continuing to stand with the people of Tibet in their struggle for religious and cultural freedom." The Reciprocal Access to Tibet Act was introduced in the House of Representatives by Representatives Jim McGovern and Randy Holtgren, and in the Senate by Senators Marco Rubio and Tammy Baldwin. So much for this week. See you next time and have a great weekend.